Again, what a grand ambition and vision. Space, AI, this is what it's all about, tying ecosystems and tying technologies together. And here to actually promote that ideal is Stephen Mcarthy, CEO of the Malta Digital Innovations Authority, something which the Prime Minister alluded to. And he's here to talk more about this brand new initiative. Stephen.
Good morning. Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, Junior Minister. And welcome to Malta. Basically, my speech today will delve into more detail of what we are doing. As you all know, I have been appointed as the CEO of the new authority. And before I start, I would like to refer a little bit to three laws, three very important laws, namely MDIA, ETAS, and VFA. The MDIA deals with the authority, ETAS deals with the technology arrangements and the services, and then there is the VFA. These are three very important laws, which I will be referring to later on. These laws were enacted because we truly believe that blockchain, which is one type of DLT, is set to disrupt and innovate multiple sectors of society. Malta does not want to be passive, but rather active in promoting this new technology in order to ensure its future. We want to provide a legal framework to innovative activity which is currently unregulated. So given these three laws, how are they going to work together? And what is the process that in order to get certification? Well, the process in order to get certification starts with owners, developers, and promoters who can, on a voluntary basis, and it's very important to highlight this word on a voluntary basis, because when it comes to technology in this part, it is on a voluntary basis. Then we will come to VFA, which is a little bit slightly different than voluntary. So on a voluntary basis, they apply for certification of an ITA with MDIA, which is our authority. MDIA then assesses the ITA applications on the following criteria. And here I want to make a point, which it wasn't an easy task. One has to keep in mind that as the Junior Minister and the Prime Minister, this is the first. So the challenges that we had was what to refer to. So we had nothing to refer to. So we literally had to start from scratch. But I'm happy to say that with the team of experts that we had, with the original team that drafted the law, we made some good improvements. So what are the criteria which we will assess as an IT application? First of all, we will assess that whether the proposed ITA meets the necessary standards. What kind of standards are we talking here? We're talking about legality, integrity, transparency, compliance, and accountability. Whether the ITA is fit and proper for its purpose and has the features and attributes it declared, because that is one of the major problems that in the white paper, etc., it declares one thing, but then in the coding we find that it is different. It is important that this ITA must have a review by a systems auditor registered with MDIA. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to have a list of registered systems auditors, and they will have to come up with an opinion. And I refer, they would have to come up with an opinion. It's not a matter of having a checklist of controls. It's not ticking a checklist. They would have to come up with an opinion based on a list of standards which we have put ourselves. Finally, then the ITA has a registered, must have a registered administrator, technical administrator at office at all times. And as a last criteria, the IT applicant must show that there is a clear and substantive connection to Malta. So here it is important now to relate to the VFA, which is the Virtual Financial Assets Act. Now, when it comes to virtual financial assets, applicants are referred to MFSA. So there is something which I want to make it clear that in the case of virtual financial assets, the applicants are referred to MFSA. Why? Because, first of all, given that there is MFSA, which is the Malta Financial Services Authority, we do not want to overlap. So is there going to be a certification, and there are two authorities, we are working together rather than competing. We are coordinating. So in this particular case, when there is the VFA, the leading authority is MFSA. So if, for example, someone has an ICO, then the leading authority would be MFSA. So he wouldn't need to come directly to our authority, which is MDIA. So basically, where do we come in? The MDIA comes in because it has its registered systems auditor. And the MFSA may, and I'm saying may, because we're not going to interfere with the decisions of MFSA, may, and from what I've been told, that is the way that they will work, they may recommend and impose that there is an opinion from a systems auditor who is registered with MDIA and obviously has to abide by the procedures, standards and rules that MDIA will put in. This system of a systems auditor will not only apply to MFSA, but it will also apply to other competent authorities, as, for example, MGA. MGA, we're already having discussions whereby, in the case where they will be faced with an application where there is DLT involved, MGA, like MFSA, will ask for a systems auditor opinion on the technology of DLT being used. So one would ask here, the systems auditor has a key role. Yes, the systems auditor has a key role both in the case where there is voluntary applications and in the case where other competent authorities ask for their opinion. In this particular case, when we came to certification of certifiable ITAs, we had to strike a balance. We didn't want to make it so difficult that it's impossible to work, but at the same time, we wanted something reliable and serious. We wanted that the systems auditor review is something concrete and something which is reliable. So in view of this, we have come up with the following basic requisites. Now I'm discussing the requisites for systems audit. The following basic requisites, which are available for public consultation in order to accept applications for a systems auditor. So these are the requisites that a systems auditor would have to look in. We based our requisites on three pillars, three important pillars. One is a high level of education in technology, experience in technology, but in particular, and this is very important, but in particular on the solution being audited. So it's not good enough that someone says, listen, I've had 10 experience in an audit, in a technology environment, in an IT environment. For us, that is good, but it is not good enough. We want, given that we're dealing with innovative technology, we want that the experience is specifically on the solution being audited. And that is a very important aspect because we had to change the mindset. we're dealing with innovative technology. So we have to be in line with that. Just as we said that a systems auditor, we do not need to go to traditional ways of having a financial auditor, because what's the point of having a financial auditor audit a system, a technology? There's no point. But at the same way, even in IT, it's important that he has experience in that new technology. Then we will go on an interview. So we're saying experience, education, and interview. Then there is also that the system auditor must show that he has a functional office here in Malta, so that we can relate to. So how will this system auditor operate? Well, the system auditor won't be an employee of the authority. The system auditor would be independent like other financial auditors. They work on their own. So basically, the registered system auditor has to be engaged on a commercial basis by the ITA applicant. The systems auditor is responsible, he is responsible for the final deliverable of the systems audit report. There will be two types. Sorry to go into a little bit of details. These are guidelines that we've just issued, and they are on our website. There are 4 chapters. We just issued 3 of them. So I'm just saying, just pointing out the gist of these guidelines. Obviously, these guidelines are works in progress, because after public consultation, we might amend or adjust or even delete parts of it. So there will be 2 types of audit. There will be type 1 and type 2. Why did we do 2 types of audit? The reason being is that type 1 audit are applicable for ITAs waiting to be launched. If you have an ITA which is waiting to be launched, there is one type of audit. Type 2 is where this ITA has been launched and there is history. So even if there is a type 1 audit, probably there will be also a type 2 audit which will verify the history, the output of that solution with the standards that we require. As you know, audit has multiple facets, which include controls testing, security assessment, including penetration tests, and software code reviews. Therefore, the systems auditor is required to make use of a subject matter expert, whose details will be included in the application. What did we do here? Here we introduced a subject matter expert. Why? Because the wide range of standards and criteria which we have put in order for the systems auditor to work may require, and we feel that it will definitely require, you need other specialists in that particular solution component of the software. In fact, we think that there will need to be 2 subject matter experts. This, keep in mind, in order to come up with something tangible, concrete, serious. So besides a systems auditor, in the law, it refers also to a technical administrator. And this is an important distinction between a systems auditor and the technical administrator. A systems auditor comes in, does the audit, and he's out of the company, and he will be back probably in 1 year's time. However, the technology during the year is being operated on a daily basis. So we have put in the law a technical administrator. And crucially, any ITA subject to certification must have a registered technical administrator who is able to demonstrate to the MDIA, which is the authority, the ITA's ability to satisfy certain specific criteria. And I'm going to mention 3 basic criteria. First of all is that the prerequisites required for certification are there. The ITA's ability to meet standards on a continuing basis and to address critical matters. And this is an important and a little bit delicate issue. The ITA's ability to allow the technical administrator to intervene in cases where there is a material loss of its users or breach of law. Now, we know that when you talk and when you speak about intervention, doesn't go hand in hand with this type of technology. However, in the law, when there is breach of law, they couldn't do away with it. This required, after we studied what will happen from a technological aspect and we could advise, however, this requirement may vary when it is not, and I repeat, when it is not technically feasible or justifiable, such as in the case of a permissionless platform where all nodes are equal. So what we are saying that where it is not technically possible, the intervention of a technical administrator, we will vary that requirement. It can mean not completely waiver, but we may issue certification with a disclaimer saying that in this particular solution, the intervention of the technical administrator is not possible. Please keep in mind that to do these guidelines, we had to be, and this is important to point out, that we had to be flexible. This is, as I said, a work in progress. We will be updating as time, and we will be learning also from this experience. But the initial feedback that we got is that we made a good start. I would like to conclude by saying that we are trying to do things differently through legislation, where we are attempting to offer legitimacy, transparency, and reputational safeguards. The latter, that is, the reputational safeguards, the latter is indeed the responsibility of all stakeholders. And as Warren Buffett once said, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you do things differently. I would like to say once again, thank you for coming to Malta. If you need any clarifications, we have our booth at the entrance. There will be myself and 3 other colleagues who have been working on the guidelines 24/7. So I assure you that by now we know them by heart. So if you have any difficulties, please do not hesitate to come. And I thank you once again for being here. Thank you.